Welcome to the channel, Living in Denver, Colorado. I'm Joshua Gray. This is Jason Moscato. Well, he's been waiting a minute, so this is him now. Yeah. Sorry about that, dude.
I'm here. What's this?
Nothing. Sorry. I was playing around. You weren't here, so I figured
so you had somebody fill in for me, huh? Okay.
I had somebody tag in. Alright, you're out.
Welcome to the channel, Living in Denver, Colorado.
I am Joshua Gray. This is Jason Moscato, the real one this time.
Yeah, we are the Denver guys.
Coming at you from Mile High.
Yup. Hey, this is gonna be this second part of our Urban Legends of Denver. What is it gonna be today, Josh?
Well, first, a disclaimer. Okay.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, unfortunately, we got to do a disclaimer. This is just for entertainment purposes. There are facts in this, but for the most part, these are just urban legends and stories that have gone around for a while.
So just for entertainment purposes only. Use your own discretion. Definitely just for fun. We're just wanting to tell some stories here. And,
it's Halloween. You gotta have some creepy stuff on Halloween, right?
Yeah.
I got my creepy Pennywise hoodie on.
That's pretty creepy, dude.
Don't act like you're not impressed. My wife's got a matching one.
But today, what are we gonna do today, Josh?
Today we're doing CHEESMAN Park.
I'm excited.
CHEESMAN Park is a really well-known park here in Colorado. It's been around since 1854. It's been around for a minute.
Yeah.
18, not 1918.
Yeah.
For a minute.
Yeah, it's a super cool neighborhood.
But it used to have a completely different name though. We'll get into that here in a second.
We're gonna be going over everything from
the creepy parts.
Yeah, you're gonna want to stay tuned to the end. When we start telling you about CHEESMAN Park, you're gonna be pretty shocked. So,
I was.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys. If this is your first time being in the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring that little bell so you get all the updates that we got going on. We got 2 more of these coming up within the next couple weeks, so make sure you check them out.
Yeah, make sure you hit that bell so you don't miss it. And normally on this channel we go over everything Denver, Colorado.
This is Denver.
All the different. Yeah, it's definitely Denver. But we're doing tours of the different neighborhoods, the subsidiaries of Denver, all the different cities of Denver. So yeah, like Josh said, want to subscribe to here and not miss the upcoming videos.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Okay, guys, it's CHEESMAN Park. Let's do this.
We're gonna do the tale of CHEESMAN Park. So while taking a stroll upon the rolling hills or having a picnic under the shade of one of the many trees in the beautiful 80-acre CHEESMAN Park, many visitors don't realize that they very well may be walking or sitting right upon the grave of one of the many who were buried here in the 19th century. Surrounded by Capitol Hill mansions in the heart of downtown Denver, Colorado, CHEESMAN Park is not only frequented by visitors wanting to explore its botanical gardens or enjoy its 150-mile panoramic view from the pavilion, but is also said to be home to a number of restless spirits.
The park began in 1858 by General William Larimer. He jumped at the chance to take over this land. He wanted to name it after his favorite little town there, Denver. Yeah, it's pretty fun. But unfortunately, the land didn't actually belong to the city either. It actually was owned by the Arapaho Indians. In November 1858, Larimer set aside 320 acres of the cemetery, which is now a site of present-day CHEESMAN and Congress Park. Larimer called it Mount Prospect. Mount Prospect Cemetery. And several of the large plots are designated to the crested hill. So basically, what they're trying to say here I'm going to sum it up because I don't like the way the word it is. Basically, this place was for the elite. They wanted nothing but the best of the best, richest and most brightest people living in this area. However, that's not how it ended up turning out. The top of the hill was for the richest, and the outskirts were for basically criminals, thieves, and paupers. I'm not sure what a pauper is, but that's what it was.
Popper.
Yeah, it was a pauper. I like those little things with the fucking jalapeno in there. I love those things.
Lots of jalapeno poppers, I guess.
But in between the outskirts and the main part where the rich were, there was everybody else. So it kind of started getting to that point, but the unfortunate thing is, over time, more and more criminals were being laid to rest there. So they started kind of overtaking the whole area. And the rich didn't want to be buried there anymore, so they went to different cemeteries. The first man to be buried at the cemetery, named Abraham Key, he was actually, he died from a lung infection. However, most people tell the story a little bit differently, saying that he was hung there for murder. And that seems to be the story that sticks, even though that's not the factual one.
Yeah, it's kind of like the telephone game, and
Right.
keeps getting told down and down.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of keeps getting changed.
Yeah.
But hey, it makes for a great story.
It sounds funner that way.
Probably
or at
wasn't
least
cool
more
then,
interesting.
though.
Yeah, probably not. Probably
Not
not.
that cool, but,
The second man buried in the cemetery was a Hungarian immigrant named John Stoffel. Having arrived in Denver, allegedly settling a dispute between his brother-in-law, ended up shooting, got shot, or he shot his brother-in-law.
Wow.
They were both gold rush guys, so he actually came here to apparently to settle a dispute, but he wanted his brother-in-law's gold dust. And unfortunately, at the time, this was in 1859. So what had actually happened is Stoffel came here, shot his brother, and they had because the nearest official court was in Kansas. They got a bunch of people, a people's court together, and then they assembled and convicted this guy of murder and hung him from a cottonwood tree right off of 10th and Cherry Creek Street.
Wow.
Yeah, that's fun, right? Super cool. Yeah.
Though Denver consisted of only 150 buildings at the time, about 1,000 spectators attended the hanging. Afterwards, his body, along with his brothers, were dumped into the same grave at the edge of the cemetery. As the outermost edge of the cemetery began to fill with outlaws, vagrants, and paupers, kind of like you were saying, Josh.
Jalapeno poppers.
You got the paupers. Denver citizens began to call the cemetery the Old Boneyard and the Boot Hill. Mount Prospect gained yet another nickname when a popular professional gambler named Jack O'Neill was gunned down outside of a saloon in March of 1860. The whole event began when O'Neill, a handsome Irishman, squirreled with a less than credible man who went by the name of Rooker. As the argument progressed, O'Neill suggested that the two settle the argument with Bowie knives in a back room. However, when Rooker refused, O'Neill questioned his heritage as well as that of several of his family members. A couple of days later, Rooker shot O'Neill down as he passed by the door of the Western Saloon. When the Rocky Mountain News printed the story, the cemetery also became known as Jack O'Neill's Ranch.
After receiving these many nicknames, the cemetery never gained the respect that Larimer intended it to have. The influential citizens of the Denver Society were mostly buried elsewhere, leaving the graveyard to burials of the poor, criminal, and diseased. When Larimer eventually left Denver, Mount Prospect was claimed by a cabinet marker named John Wally. Who also just so happened to be an inspiring undertaker. A report in 1866 stated that 626 persons were buried in the cemetery. Wally did an extremely bad job keeping up the cemetery, which fell into terrible disrepair, as headstones were toppled over, graves were vandalized, and sometimes even cattle were allowed to graze upon the land. Some legends even tell that homesteaders who began to live on the land.
And this is where the whole story gets interesting, because the cemetery, well, you had a cemetery already, but then it was just like a dilapidated, very poorly maintained, and so it was just
the groundskeepers there.
It was a really bad eyesore. So this is where the best part of the story is.
Yeah, hang in there.
Yep. So, go ahead, Josh.
In 1872, the government determined the property, it's now federal land basically, and they actually bought the land again for $200. Ballin'. They decided they wanted to turn it into a park. Okay.
All right, this is where the whole story gets interesting, because you had a cemetery, which was already a cemetery, but now it's in disarray, disrepair. It's horribly maintained. It's just the cows just grazing there, and so
people are setting up tents and living their life out there at the cemetery like it wasn't no thing.
Yep. So with all that cemetery being, it's like right in the heart of like Denver too.
Yeah, it really is. Actually, I actually have two guys that I know that have lived in that area.
Mm-hmm.
One of them still lives in Congress Park.
Yeah, very, very renowned neighborhood. Beautiful neighborhood today.
Yeah, it actually is a really, really nice neighborhood. I keep going through there all the time, and I realize, how interesting it actually is. Okay, so the government basically took back the land. They paid $200 for it. Okay, it was basically federal land, and they bought it from the Arapaho Indians for $200.
Nice. Deal on that.
So here's where it gets interesting. The federal government decided that they wanted to turn it into a park, right? So what they basically did is they let the families know that, hey, you need to come collect your family and move them elsewhere. People that could afford to do it did so, but a lot of it weren't able to. So they did a contract with this guy. His name's E.P. McGovern. Basically what he did is he came in and he started to collect the bodies, and the rule was they had to get each person a fresh coffin and then move them elsewhere. Well, they paid him $1.90 per casket.
Bad back then, bro.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. Well, this shifty dude decided he can find a way to make some extra money. So he got a bunch of children's caskets, and he would start hacking up the bodies and put maybe one body in 3 different coffins.
Yeah.
So eventually it got to the point where they found out about this, and the bad part was too is that he had torn apart so many of these coffins that body parts were literally strewn about everywhere, and there was people coming by and looting the bodies and taking, and it was absolutely terrible. And all the studies say, or all the articles say, how terrible of a sight it was. People's clothes just mashed into the ground by looters, and it's horrific. It really is.
Yeah, so when the government came in, they said, hey, let's revitalize this cemetery, and then they hired that, what was his name?
E.P. McGovern.
E.P. McGovern, to kind of do that.
But
everybody trying to make a buck.
Everybody trying to make a buck, but here's the thing about him, is that they found out about it, they cut his contract, and they never found anybody to replace him.
Yeah.
So that's where
he got most of them.
No, he didn't.
Well, he got some.
He got some.
Yeah. There's still quite a bit left.
What happened was they said, okay, well, it's going to cost too much to move all these bodies, so they just moved the tombstones and left the bodies. And there's an estimated 2,000 bodies still there.
Yeah, when they say estimated, right?
Yeah, it could be more, it could be less. That 2,000. That's a good number for TV.
Right.
Only 2,000 guys. I swear, it's just 2,000. But also, right next to Cheeseman Park, there's the Botanical Gardens, and that used to be for the Catholics. The Catholics used to be in that area right there. They actually have a forensic pathologist on call.
Wow.
Because they're still finding bodies.
Wow.
But they also want to make sure that it's from the grave or from the original, cemetery that was there, and then there's not foul play and somebody dumping bodies there.
There was another rumor, Josh.
Ooh, do
this
tell.
is definitely just rumor, but this
rumor.
EP
McGovern. McDonald's.
I don't know why I can't remember his name. EP McGovern. After all that was said and done, and they fired him and everything else, it was said that the rumor said that
What was the rumor said?
you want to know what the rumor said? That he was, from that day forth, like from everything that he had done, he was been haunted. He kept hearing things and had always had these presence of these spirits, let's say, kind of haunting him.
Well, he should have too. That's messed
Yeah,
up.
he probably deserved every bit of that.
Every bit of
sure.
that.
Yeah. Definitely, karma got him.
Yeah. And that's kind of some of the stories that come along with this too, is that where the cemetery is, people claim that when you're walking at night, there's still people walking up and down the paths.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little unsettling. I actually, so when I was there, I was talking to one of the people that works for Denver, and they do the parks there. And he was a younger kid, and he had never heard these stories before.
Wow.
I was telling him about it, and he goes, "It's like, no, man, it's just a section over here." And I was like, "No, dude, it's not. It's the whole.
It's 80 acres.
It's 80 acres, bud. It's 80 acres."
Yeah.
And I found out later, I thought it was just Cheeseman Park, and it actually went to Botanical Gardens, which is right next to it, and then there's actually Congress Park, which is on the other side of Botanical Gardens. You don't realize how big 80 acres is until you bring it up on a map, and you're like, "Oh, wow, okay, that's pretty large."
Because the actual Cheeseman Park is, maybe what, 5 acres, maybe?
Yeah, if that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's only a small portion, and then
Tiny.
who knows where the other, 75 acres are.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're walking through the park. It's dark. We're a little bit lost. Don't laugh. We're gonna keep on trekking through and see if we can figure out where the heck we're going. Oh wait, I have Google.
So yeah, those are the rumors. That's Cheeseman Park. It is a beautiful park. It has really nice paved little trails and stuff there.
Yeah, and they actually now are restricting people from driving through the park because there actually was drivable paths.
Oh.
But now they close all that stuff off, and now it's strictly for walking, biking, all that kind of stuff. It's a very hip district.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not hip enough to be there. I just walked through it. Sorry, guys. My bad. All right, guys.
That was Cheeseman Park.
What do you guys think? Did you like it? You better hit that thumbs up if you do. All right, can you sleep now?
Yeah, if you guys, enjoyed that, found some kind of entertainment from that, make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel, and then make sure you guys are hitting that notification bell because we're coming out with videos every week. We got a couple more of these little urban legends. I really think you're gonna like the next two as well. So make sure you're staying tuned.
Hit that subscribe button.
I'm Joshua Gray. This is Jason. Wait.
I've been me for 30 years, over 30 years, and I feel like I got that wrong. I'm Joshua Gray. That's Jason Moscato. We're both licensed real estate agents here in the state of Colorado. So if you guys want to learn some more about Denver, Colorado, you guys moving out here, let us know. We'll help you out. Our number will be right here at the bottom.
Right there. All right.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys. Later.